So today we're going to look at new features that are available in 2018.3, the October 2020 release. First feature we're going to look at is the new bulk edit Smartlist columns. So I'm going to open up Smartlist here. You'll notice that if I click on columns, I now have this little checkbox next to the column, so I could select a bunch of these columns. So for example, if I don't want posting type or category number, I can select two of these and hit remove. So that's the first new feature. Another new feature is the ability to have screen output reports maximized. So an example of that would be any dexterity-based report. So a trial balance report as an example here. I'm just going to hit print. This is going to be to screen. You'll notice it's maximized. So normally previous versions when this printed, it would print like this, and you'd always have to increase the size or maximize. So by default now it's always maximized. So nice new feature. One of the best new features is the ability to have, when printing Word templates, to have them automatically go to the printer you're choosing. So the way this works is in name printer setup, which I have open here. I would select use name printer when printing to Word templates, and this would cause when the report was printed, it would automatically go directly to the printer as indicated, and I would not get the choose print dialog window anymore. So another new feature is the Reconcile fiscal year. So under Tools, Utilities, Financial, I have the Reconcile. So before I had to select the fiscal year and I had to start with the oldest year, and then work my way backwards, or historical year, and work my way forward to the current year. I now have this all button, and it'll actually by default select every year and go to the most current year. So I hit reconcile, hit OK, and it's gone through and reconciled all my years for me. So another new feature is the ability to schedule check links. So the requirement is that you need to be logged into GP and have GP open for this to work and be logged into the correct company. But the setup would look like this. So you'd go to Tools, Routines, Company, and Report Setup. I provide a location. I hit Save and the export file type. So this could be PDF or text file as well. Hit save to that location. Then I go to Tools, Routines, Company, and go to the Report Schedule. And you'll notice that I can select a report here, but I can also now select different check links. So I can also set the frequency. So this could be run daily, weekly, monthly, every day, or every 3 days. So I have the ability to change that. So for example, if I did multi-currency setup and I hit publish, it's going through and running at the one time, but like I said, this could be run on a schedule as well. So now if I was to close this window and go back to Tool Setup, or Routine, sorry, and go to Company, Report Catalog Maintenance, so I can see that I've just ran this. I can select that report, look at the error log that was generated by running that report. So very powerful functionality that did not exist in prior versions. Another new feature is the save per column layouts of user's homepage. So on the homepage, if I click on customize this page, so this is very exactly like you'd have in previous versions. So I could have this set to 2 column and top, which is what I have here. So if I select one of these areas to maximize, it will then make that area the bottom of the page and keep the column layout along the top. So once again, I can close that, and if I selected my reports, that's going to be maximized at the bottom and keep the setting on the top. I can easily change this to be, instead of So back on customize this page, I can say this is bottom, hit OK. And now what I have is if I maximize the to-do, the other two sections are two column on the bottom of the page and the top part is now maximized. Microsoft also added some financial enhancements. One of those being user-defined fields on your journal entry. So for the setup of that, it's under Tools, Setup, Financial, and then General Ledger. And you'll notice that there's these two user-defined fields, and I can give these a title. So test 1, and let's just call this test 2. And if I hit OK now, so if I go to Transactions, Financial, General, in my journal entry window, you'll notice I have these two fields. This allows me to have some extra GL information. These fields are also available on the Smartlists. So for example, if I go to Smartlists now, and I go to Financial Account Transactions, and I go to Columns, in order to add these, so our two user-defined fields are right here. They're transaction user-defined 1 and 2. I could rename these if I had this on here, just like you can do with normal user-defined fields. So, and then those then show my smart list. Another large request from customers was to have our copy and paste journal entry was not adhering to the correct number of decimal places to do with currency setup. So for example, if you had currency set up as 2 decimal places, but in your spreadsheet or Excel spreadsheet you had 5 decimal places, it would not adhere to the 2 decimals that you had in your company setup, which could cause rounding issues in the past. But now under, if I go to Tools, Setup, System, and we go to our currency setup, and we select Canadian dollars, it now uses the information that's in the separator information here to determine the number of decimals to use when copy and paste is used. Similar to the copy and paste functionality we have in the general ledger, we now also have copy and paste functionality available in Payables transaction entry. So the way this works is you set up a template, which is basically your vendor number. So which would look something like this. So it has your vendor, your purchase amount, trade discount, freight, miscellaneous, document number, PO number, and cash amount. Now, these don't all have to be filled in, but do have to exist on your template. What you would do is just highlight the row you want to select. So we'll go Control C. Then we open the Payables transaction entry window, and you'll notice there's this paste button at the top here. Obviously this is not available to you yet because you haven't actually filled in any information. So we actually have to select our vendor ID. And we don't have to put in any of the other information, but you'll now notice that this is available. So we just go down to the purchase amount and hit the paste button. You'll notice it put in our document number, our PO number, our purchase amount. If we had trade discount or freight or miscellaneous, it would get filled into here as well. This also works with distributions. I could fill those in as well. In this case, I have it defaulting in from the vendor setup, and then I'd be able to just save this to the batch. Something else that's been added is on the vendor card. So if we go to purchasing vendor maintenance window, bring up a vendor here, and go to options. I now have this DBA field, which is doing business as. So for example, if I put in Ace Travel and I put in travel company, I could then have this print on checks, so I have a little more flexibility, but still keep the legal name here at the top here. So another new feature is the ability to export and import stock counts. So the way that this works is if I have a stock count schedule that I've created, requirement is that I start the count. I can now just send this wherever, cancel this, or send this to screen, doesn't really matter. I would normally print my stock count sheets, but I'm not going to do that in this case. Just hit cancel. I now have this export import button that's available to me, so I can now export this. I can send it to a particular folder location. Let's save. So it's been exported. So if I go to that folder and open up the spreadsheet, if we look at the spreadsheet, we'll open up the correct spreadsheet, which is the one that I created here. So notice this has all my locations, the item description, the serial or lot number, and then the quantity on hand, the count status. So what I would do is, for example, if I scroll down and we select any one of these items, doesn't really matter which one. So we're going to select the 100 XLG here. So if I counted this one, I would hit one of those, put a 1 for count status. I now save the spreadsheet. I'm just going to close out of there. Now within GP, I can go back to my window and normally I would have the 100 XLG. I'd have the count status. I'm just going to hit save this as a schedule. I'm going to close this. Now if I go back into stock count entry, bring up our stock count that is started. Normally I'd have to manually update each one of these lines, but in this case I can just go to my spreadsheet, hit import, select the spreadsheet that I'm working with. And now it's imported the stock count amount into the spreadsheet. So 100 XLG, notice that this item here is updated. Just going back to my 100 XLG item. So I have that item selected. I'll go to lot and serial number. You'll notice that it's showing the one serial number and it's showing a status of counted and no variance here, so I know that it's been counted correctly. Thank you for watching today's webinar. Contact me, Paul J at profit.ca, to chat all things GP. Please visit profit.ca/webinars for upcoming webinars. Thank you.